afternoon, Dr. Raj.
Good afternoon. How are you, my friend? Well, that's right. We're exclusive to Power 102. I've been exclusive to Power 102 for how many years?
I'm telling you.
So it's good. It's good to remind the listeners of that. But before we get started, I want to remind all the listeners out there, everyone who is looking at us on social media, whoever you are, that next week Saturday on the 20th, we have Saturday Night Fever, a Back in Times party, the ultimate Back in Times party. We have 12 DJs. We have entertainment galore. We have Trevor Gore as our MC and our main entertainer. We have George Gonzalez, Sensational Sammy, DJ Cado, Dr. High, Dr. Russ, Rishi Ram, DJ Greg, DJ Kyle, DJ Spanish Papi, DJ Curry, DJ Chumps, and of course, it's all taking place at Passage to Asia in Chaguanas, the Chandelier Room. Tickets are $200 general, and VIP tickets are $450. With the VIP tickets, you get a full buffet meal for vegetarians or persons who are eating meat. You have a full meal from Passage to Asia, so you know Passage to Asia food is really nice food. It's top of the line, top class food. Also, you get 2 alcoholic beverages with that, and you are in the exclusive VIP area. For those who are getting their tickets for the general admission, of course, you have to purchase all your drinks and whatnot, but you will be partying close to the action. So, for those who need to get their ticket, they can call the main office, which is 645-4543. They can get in touch with me, 740-1961. They can go to any one of the branches of Dr. Raj Adult Boutique in Bamboo number 3, Chaguanas, Debe, or Princestown, and get your tickets there. So for those of you who are coming, who want to come to the best Back in Times party ever, 12 DJs, Trevor Gore as our main entertainer, come and party with me. Also, it's my birthday celebration. My birthday will be on Tuesday, and we are celebrating it on Saturday. Again, you don't need to walk with a present. All you need to be is present at the event. I left your ticket for you today. Did you get it?
Yes, I got them. Thank you so much. I'll be there.
Okay, great. I'm happy you got your ticket. So,
Yeah, man.
let's deal with today's program. You know, over the years, as a sexologist practicing in Trinidad, having a clinic, which I started, I think, was in 1998. Not I think it started yet, around 1998. I was registered, my business was registered in 1992, but I was on the down low between 1992 and 1998, setting everything up so that I could have this grand business coming to fruition. I recall, starting off on Arapita Avenue before it was called the Avenue, on the corner of Lewis Street and Arapita Avenue, just opposite Vinimage. Then from there, we went to Tragreet Road, and from Tragreet Road, we went to Bengal Street in St. James. And eventually, we moved from Bengal Street in St. James at Whispers, that used to be my restaurant and bar. From Whispers, we came to St. Augustine. And we have been in St. Augustine since 2001. So that's the transition with starting up the business and getting involved in sexology, treating people, having patients and clients and whatnot coming to me to get solution for their sexual problems. But one of the things I've found, McDaddy, is a lot of women would always complain, and to this day, even up to today, I got that complaint, that their partner are not doing the things that they need for their sexual satisfaction. Because most of the time, the guy will engage in sexual tryst with his partner, but it's all about himself. And as long as he is satisfied with whatever is happening, he don't see the need for the satisfaction of the woman. Now, it's not only a physical satisfaction or sexual satisfaction. There is also a mental connect with the individual. So, you develop some sort of connectivity with the individual. There is a chemistry between you and your partner, you and the person that you're engaging in with sex. And you have to understand that you need to take it to different levels. Now, barring you're doing a quickie, and which most of us will engage in a quickie ever so often, but there's some persons who will tell you they like a quickie because that's the only thing that they can do. They could only have sex in a quickie, 1 or 2 minutes, and they're done. But if you want to really and truly engage with your partner, both male and both female, you have to be able to go that distance with the person. But first of all, you must have an understanding of what are the needs of your partner and what you are capable of doing. If you don't have that understanding of what you're capable of doing, you're going to end up in a lot of problems. So sometimes we don't take the time to understand who we are with and how we are going to connect with that person. And if we don't take the time to understand the partner that we're with and what are the things that are needed to satisfy that person, you end up failing. One of the things that happens is you will be excited to engage sexually. So you are excited to engage sexually and you are going to want to do certain things. But the excitement is already there because mentally you're focused on what the person is telling you, what the person is doing to you, whether it be a touch, a kiss, a caress, a feel up, whatever it may be, for you to engage in that sexual activity. So you already have a level of excitement. Two things could happen there. That level of excitement can either diminish or it can grow. How does it diminish? It diminishes by your actions, by the things that you say to the person, by the way you try to engage with that individual. If in trying to engage with the individual, you're rough, you are not doing what the person needs you to do, you're insensitive to the needs of your partner, what's going to happen is that the person is going to slowly be turned off by you. They're not going to feel it for you. If, on the other hand, the person is doing all the right things, for example, saying the right things, looking at you the right way, and a look could be very sensual, or a look could be something that could turn you off. Because some person might look at you and roll up their eyes. And you know when somebody look at you and roll up their eyes, it's a negative thing. So for a guy, if he sees that, he might say, she really not into it. Maybe you're forcing her to do it. She'll look like she want to do anything. For a woman now, most men don't roll up their eyes. It's a woman's thing. But if the woman sees that the guy is not focused on whatever she wants to do, and again, it has to do with who engages the other party. If the woman engages the man, there's excitement there. And he's going to react to that. Unless, of course, he has erectile dysfunction or some other issue. But he wants to engage because he is getting that excitement from the partner. And as an aside to this, one of the major problems that a lot of married couples have is the majority of the time, the person who is doing the engaging is usually the man. And after a while, the man gets fed up of initiating sexual act. If that is happening to you, as a man, you get fed up, you don't have the vigor, you don't have the energy to engage all the time or to initiate sex all the time. And a lot of women don't take the time to understand that, hey, at times you need to engage. So it doesn't look like if I only want to have sex and you don't want to have sex. So the importance here is engaging your partner, taking the initiative as the female to get your partner interested in sex with you. That is a turn on for most men if the woman initiates the sexual act. But many women do not initiate it. They wait for the guy to initiate it. Even if you are in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship or a lover relationship, there are times that the woman, if she comes and tell her man, I want to fuck, it's better than he telling her, I want to have sex with you or I want to fuck you. So if the woman engages the man and initiates the sex, that is also an aphrodisiac to the mind of the man, and it brings off a certain level of wanting to do something. It's excitement. It tells the man that, hey, I am with this woman is my lover, this woman is the woman I want to make love to, this is the woman I want to fuck, and she wants to fuck me. It's not me doing it all the time. So, if you want to excite your partner, if you're listening to my voice, and you are a female, and you want to see a change in your partner's attitude, especially if he engages all the time and he initiates the sex all the time, try initiating the sex sometime. You can initiate it in many different ways, and I'll tell you some of the ways. By kissing him, by caressing him, by playing with his penis, squeezing his cock, telling him, I want to fuck. A simple thing as telling a man that will raise his temperature, will engage his mind, and make him want to have sex, because it is an aphrodisiac to hear your partner say, I want to have sex. As opposed to the man initiating the sexual act and he's saying, I wonder if she wants to have sex, boy. I wonder if I'm forcing her to do something. Because men do think along those lines. Of course, when a man is horny, he wants to get release. When a woman is horny, they don't always want to get released. Sometimes they can suppress it, but most men cannot suppress it because of the dangers of things that happen to them. Sometimes they get headache, they get excruciating pain in the scrotum area. So, if you as a female understand that I need to take the initiative and initiate the sexual act with my partner, and in initiating the sexual act with my partner, I am going to make things better for both of us. And I'm going to get a reaction from my husband, my boyfriend, my lover, my hornaman, whoever you want, or whatever name you want to call him, and you have initiated that sex. What you are doing there is you're raising the bar, and you're raising the level of that pheromones that is being released, the mental stimulation that the person is getting, the chemistry between you and your partner, because he's now going to feel you and feel you differently.
It may enhance the sexual performance as well.
Correct, because you have initiated it. So his performance will be much better. If a man has erectile dysfunction, and you are initiating the sexual act, and in the back of his mind, he knows he's incapable of satisfying you, he may not be getting that level of excitement because he knows he's not capable of exciting you.
He may be overthinking.
Yes. Overthinking. He may be losing his confidence in himself. There's so many things that could happen. But all things being equal, if the woman take it upon herself to get her husband, her lover, her partner in the mood, that will give you a better performance from your partner. Because many a times men have complained to me that they have to initiate sex and sometimes they just don't know what to do anymore. Or sometimes when they're initiating sex, they get the feeling that the woman is just going to roll over, open her legs and say, take what you want. When you're done, we're done. Because she's not actively involved in whatever is happening. So if she is not actively involved in whatever is taking place, there is no level of excitement. He just feels it's a chore and he has to get it over with. And some women do feel sex is a chore. Now, the woman who has been engaged to have sex needs certain things done. Now, if it is a quickie, if it's stealing a fuck, or it's a long sexual engagement, there are things that needs to be done. Kissing is part of it. Caressing is part of it. Sucking tongue is another part of it. Touching the person, the erogenous zones of the individual. Caressing the buttocks, caressing the breast, touching the vagina. Those are all part of the initiation and all part of what you need to do to excite your partner. But it's not only that. A lot of women out there needs mental stimulation as much as men, but they are afraid to say it. They are afraid to tell you that they have fantasies that they need to work out also in your mind.
They want to explore.
They want to explore. They want to do certain things that is not the norm. So if you have your partner and you don't understand her needs and know that she wants to talk dirty or talk about something that is taboo
Or BDSM.
or whatever it is, she wants to be a slut at the moment and she wants you to treat her like that. If you don't engage that, you are falling short because you are not doing what is required of you to bring about that level of physical satisfaction, mental satisfaction, and sexual satisfaction. So, Sex is not just putting a penis or a cock in a vagina. It's not just that. Because if it was simply putting your cock in a vagina, then all it would be is that persons will be fucking down the place and there's nothing to it. There will be no lecture on it. There will be no books written on it. There's nothing to it. But sex is much more than that. Sex takes place in the mind of the individuals. It takes place in the physical attributes of the individual. And it's the physicality of it. It's what you do physically with your partner. Therefore, if you have a repertoire in your mind of the things that you want to do and what you want to talk about with your partner, it makes things easier. It makes the whole sexual adventure something that is exciting. Now, sex don't need to be that way each and every time. And the reason for that is that sometimes you just need to have sex as a release. And that's what I was talking about before. If sex was simply a release, people would just be fucking for release. But sex is not for release alone. It's for an enlightening, it's for a heightened sense of self, it's for enjoyment, happiness.
Release stress.
Right? If you go down the road of relieving stress and whatnot, that is additional bonuses to sex. Because you're thinking about what are the things that I need to do feel good, that feel good moment that you have. Many a times, we don't get the satisfaction we want from sex. And let's face it, it's the truth. Many a times, men have sex, they ejaculate, and they're not satisfied with their performance. They're not satisfied with what was done, how it was done, how their partner assimilated the whole sexual act with them. They're not happy. And if we're talking about happiness, happiness comes from within. So if you are disappointed in what you have done, how can you be happy? And if you are honest with yourself, you would know that there are many times you engage in sexual activities and you have not come up to par. You have not done what you're supposed to do to have total enjoyment of sex. Isn't that so? And if you allow that to repeat itself throughout the days and the months and the years of you having sex with your partner, you're doomed to failure. You are heading to a very dangerous area in your life where you will, the relationship that you have, there's nothing binding it. The sex is not there to hold it together. But I'm not saying sex is the most important thing in the relationship. What I'm saying is that sex is a wonderful experience between you and your partner that takes you into a different world and causes you to get that feel-good feeling, causes you to get that bliss from whatever you're doing, and of course, it gives you a level of happiness, which we need. Because if we're not happy in our engagement with our partner, with our lover, with our wives, then you will end up being miserable. And if you're honest enough to say, I am not happy in my relationship because the sex is not what it's supposed to be, that's the honesty part of it. You're being honest. But at the same time, you need to recognize that, am I contributing to my own downfall? And I'll tell you how you contribute to your own downfall. If you constantly, upon your partner initiating sex, and you constantly do the same thing over and over, you're not going to get a different result. As a matter of fact, the result that you're going to get is that person has become wary of your actions, and there's nothing there that's going to stimulate that person's mind, their body, and their sexual attributes. If you, on the other hand, decide that I need to do things in a particular way, excuse me, I have an itchy throat. That's Sahara dust, I guess. I need to do things in a particular way that would show my partner that, hey, I have an interest in you. You are my lover. You make me feel good. So I have an interest in you and I have an interest in what we're doing. I know that you need to feel good and I'm going to make you feel good. I know you need happiness out of our actions and I'm going to make sure you are happy. And in you being happy, I will also be happy because there's reciprocity in anything that you're doing, especially things of a sexual nature. Because if you are kissing your partner and your partner is kissing you back, you will get that better feeling from the kiss. It's not just an ordinary kiss. If you are engaging in oral sex and your partner turns around and say, okay, let's do a 69, it means while you are sucking on the vagina, she is sucking on your cock. You're going to feel different. You're going to get a level of excitement that is going to blow your mind. We don't want to ejaculate right away, so you must have a level of control. And if the person is an expert at whatever they're doing, they're going to give you that level of stimulation that it's going to blow your mind. So sexual excitement comes from within the individual, projected onto the next individual to lift the person up to a higher standard when it comes to sex. As you go along and you realize that the connection between you and your partner becomes stronger when there's good sex, isn't that a rewarding enough? Shouldn't that be a reason for you to want to do good? And it should be. You must always ask yourself, what did I get out of what we just did? Was I happy afterwards? And if the answer is yes, then there must be a repeat. And the repeat is not the exact same thing that you did during this encounter. The repeat can be doing it somewhere else, doing something differently, but focusing on what it takes to satisfy your partner. The challenge is always, what do I need to do as an individual to satisfy my partner and thereby I satisfy myself? Because when let's use the husband and wife theory here. When you satisfy your wife in bed, you will see a different person the next day or immediately after in the kitchen. You'll see a woman who's humming and doing her chores. You'll see a woman who has a smile on her face, and there'll be a naughtiness to her. But if she is frustrated by whatever is being done, that naughtiness is not there. That smile is no longer there, because she has the understanding that I have not been sexually satisfied, therefore I am not going to react positively. I'm going to be angry inside, and that anger is going to build as time goes on. So what happens eventually? Eventually, she starts to bitch, she starts to quarrel, she starts to find fault. Don't you know, or have you not realized, with your lover, and I'm using the word lover loosely here because it could be your wife, your husband, or whatever, that when there's sexual satisfaction in your relationship, there's more smile, there's more positivity. You let little things slide, you don't get angry for it because the sex is so good with your partner, you feel refreshed being next to them. But on the other hand, if you are frustrated by the sexual act by your partner, you are going to bite at the person. You are going to be angry at the person. You are going to say things that you don't mean to say, simply because you are frustrated, you are angry, excuse me, and you are not happy with the situation. If you are not happy with the situation, it's going to be expressed in the way you deal with the person, even if you are cooking for the person, even if you're doing a chore for the person. Because a woman who is frustrated, you'll hear the banging of the pots and pans. You'll hear the stoops. You'll see the set-up face. A man who is not sexually satisfied with his partner, very same thing. He would be slamming the door. He'll be raising his voice.
Mumbling under his breath.
Mumbling under his breath, correct? He'll be finding fault in everything that you do. The cooking will no longer be satisfactory to him. There are so many factors that are going to be negative in this whole scenario. So, if you want a good relationship, if you want to have your relationship in such a positive manner, you need to do the things that are going to satisfy your partner. You need to do what is necessary for that level of satisfaction and happiness by your partner and yourself. And when you find the avenue of which to do it, it becomes much easier. The relationship is much easier to manipulate and handle. Even if finances is bad, the woman will still come and rest her head on your shoulder and she'll have a smile on her face. Because there'll be a different understanding between you and your partner. Sometimes as we grow into a relationship, there are little things that irritate you about the relationship and it gnaws away at the back of your brain. And you explode suddenly when it happens or when something happens that is negative. But you're not really angry at what happened at the moment, you're angry about something else. And if women are honest enough, they'll tell you that when they are angry with their partner, they don't even do their job properly because they are angry and frustrated. A lot of them don't want to admit it, but that's the fact. They are angry and frustrated. So what do? They go out of their way, excuse me, they go out of their way to show that anger and frustration. Even if it is in an office environment, their place of work, they still show it because they cannot hide it. It's affecting their demeanor. It's affecting the way they interact with individuals. It's affecting the things that they say because there's just anger and bitterness inside of the individual. Men, on the other hand, will go and drink, take a drink, lie with their partners, old talk, and it goes. Women are different. It does not go as easily as that. So, for the better part of your relationship, you need to concentrate on what's going to take your relationship to that height, that you get that bliss. Many married couples will tell you, who have longevity in their marriage, they will tell you the time and effort spent in making your partner happy is 10 times rewarding as opposed to just being blasé or just letting things slide or being angry with your partner. The positive attitudes that you have towards your partner, the compliments that you give your partner, how hard it is to tell your wife she looks pretty today. How difficult it is to tell your husband, I like how that shirt fits you. That's a compliment. Compliment doesn't have to be that you're looking sweet and sexy and killer and you're gorgeous and all those things. It could be simple things as how their clothes fit them, how they look today, radiant. It could be different ways of saying to the person, I have recognized you. Because many a times, a woman will go to the hairdresser, pay whatever money she has to pay at the hairdresser. Now, unless it is a drastic change, for example, from having curly hair to having it in braids, some men don't notice. They don't notice the simple things that have been done to add to their appearance. And you can't blame the men because men are not, they don't scrutinize all the time like women do. A woman will, a woman will scan a man and find all the faults. Find all the faults. A man, on the other hand, will only be attracted to something of the individual, and that's all he sees. He's not even going to see the panty line because that's not his focus. But a woman will pick up on all those things with another woman and with the man she's with. So there is a difference between men and women, and there is no way that you could say that men and women are the same, that we have to get gender neutral and all these kind of bullshit. It's total bullshit. For example, there is no way on this earth a man will ever see period. Because that ain't going to happen. A man is not going through menopause. A woman could never go for a prostate examination. That's the difference between male and female. And just as you have physical differences, there is also mental and emotional differences between men and women. And again, if we are being honest, we would know the differences. And we will know that we cannot equate these differences. Just as much as you can hand a woman money in her hands, and she is a shrewd woman, conscientious woman, she will go and buy groceries, do the market, and do everything that she's supposed to do and still have money remaining. A man, that wouldn't happen with a man. Most men will spend and spend and spend until the money done. A woman will still be able to squeeze back something. Men cannot do that. You give a woman a house, she'll turn it into a home. You give her ingredients, she'll prepare you a beautiful, sumptuous meal. Because she's going to put something in that called love. She's going to put something in that called barakat, as we Indians say. A lot of people don't understand what is barakat. Barakat, in the simplest form, is that you cook for 2 and you could feed 5. And everybody will be satisfied and satiated. That's the simplest way to explain barakat. But women have that magical touch. They can take something of a physical nature and add that love and appreciation to it, and whatever else they want to add, and make it into something that is palatable and something that is beautiful. Conversely to that, a woman can be very destructive also. She could take that same beautiful house that you're giving her and make it into a jail for you. Because if there's bitterness in that woman, misunderstanding in that woman, or she is the kind of negative individual which you did not pick up on in your courting of that woman, she can turn happiness into sorrow very easily. I'm not saying men are incapable of doing that also, you know. Men are very capable of doing that, but we don't have that magic touch. The woman has that magic touch, and she has that bit of ingredient that is extra. A man, it will take alcohol for a man to behave like a jackass. A woman, it will take no alcohol, you know. Her anger. You see, a woman has, in Hindu philosophy, a woman has something called Shakti. A woman is a man's Shakti, his strength. And if you start to understand what is Shakti, some people say positive and negative. There's no such thing as positive and negative when it comes to that relationship. It's positivity and positivity, but that positivity that the woman possesses can very quickly turn to negativity if you don't nurture it the proper way. That's why in Sanatan Dharma it teaches you that we cannot have the male without the female. You cannot have Shiv, which is God, without Shakti, which is strength. You cannot have one without, you can't have spirituality without that. It's the very same that equates to your home. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Hindu, if you're Jew, it doesn't matter, you know. What matters is that you understand the strength of a woman and where it comes from and the ability that she has to strengthen you as a man. That's why if you have a wife and you also have a lover, and that lover means well for you and is positive for you, you have double the strength, provided the wife sees you in a positive light. Excuse me. If the wife does not see you positively or does not see you as someone she wants to give that Shakti to, well then, you'll get a little bit on the outside, but you're not getting it both sides. So it is important for a man to understand these things, and it is important for women also to understand that these things do exist. Because the spiritual side of a relationship is as much as important as the physical and sexual side. For those who are enlightened and understand Tantra to that level, you will know that you encounter different individuals at different times of your life as you age. And those individuals that comes into your life is to add something to your life. They're there for a short period of time or they're there for the long haul. But the fact of the matter is that they're there. And when they are there, you have to cherish whatever it is that you have. More so for the man than the woman. And that's one of the differences that we have also. The woman, it's much different than the man. The man is that that attractor of that Shakti around him. So the woman, that's why women are gravitate towards men. I'm talking about heterosexual men, even homosexual men. But they shun women because they're not interested in women in that way. But heterosexual males who have attained certain things in their life, be it a level of education, business, their fame and fortune, they will attract that Shakti or those women who are willing to give that to the man. Whether it be from a distance or physically with the individual. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize and they don't know. Because they are of the opinion that a man will be running down women all the time. But they don't stop to think that also men who are of a certain ilk will attract women to themselves. And that woman would be sending, that woman or those women would be sending positive vibrations to the man. So they'll be wishing him well in many different aspects. They may want to be physical with the individual, but it may not be able to happen because they have restraints and constraints. For example, if the woman is married to a man and she doesn't have the ability to move about freely, she cannot meet with the man to be physical with him. But she still has that feelings towards him. And guys who are famous, guys who are entertainers and whatnot, I sometimes have to coach them with these things for they to understand that that vibration that you're getting from the outside, you need to harness it. You need to say a good morning. It doesn't mean to say, no, there's a difference between somebody giving you positive vibration as opposed to a stalker. Eh? There's something different when it comes to that. There's something different when a woman will call you and talk nicely to you as opposed to a woman who is demanding things of you. There is a difference and you have to know how to balance that. But the fact of the matter still remains that there are individuals out there who are willing to do certain things with you, for you, excuse me, without their physical presence. How many of us are aware of that? And in Tantra, it teaches you that. When you study Tantra, you'll understand that the women who come around you, the young ladies, the women that you engage in, they are there to positively uplift you. That's why you have to take care of that. You have to take care of those individuals. Now, getting back to the sexual aspect of between you and your partner, you and your wife, you and your lover and whatnot, it's the very same thing. If you constantly engage your partner, and I'm being gender neutral here, if you constantly engage your partner and you leave your partner frustrated, what's going to happen to you? Would there be any positivity coming from that person towards you? Would there be anything from that individual that is going to uplift you? No. That person is going to try to drag you down because you are not giving the person the level of happiness and understanding that they need. And if you are not getting that level of understanding that is needed, the person no longer wants to support you. That causes breakup of marriages and breakup of relationship. That causes home to crumble. It causes relationship to disintegrate. Because what you need, both party needs one another. A relationship is not one-sided. A relationship is two-sided. So one has to prop up the other. You cannot have one growing at 50 feet per second and the other one is growing at 10 feet per second. It's not going to catch up. And the one that is growing faster than the other is going to leave the other one behind. And if the one that is growing faster than the other is sexually frustrated, he or she will look for that gratification from somewhere else or something else. One wonders why there is porn addiction. One wonders why men goes to prostitute. Do you hear anything about women going to prostitute? They don't. Well, gigolo is what it's called. Very rare. It does happen. But it's rare compared to the number of men who will get solace from a woman or a lady of the night or a prostitute, whatever name you want to use, once it's not derogatory. Because they serve a purpose in life, you know. A woman who sells her body, she has a reason for selling her body. Whatever the reason is, we have to understand that there's a reason for she doing that. She just not doing it for kicks. So you should not be making derogatory comment for a woman like that, because she's using the only asset that she knows and what she has to earn a living. The guys who goes to prostitute or goes to a lady of the night or a hooker or whatever name you want to call, as long as it's not derogatory, he is going there for a purpose, for sexual relief. Sometimes they get hooked up and they fall in love and they want to go and mind the woman and all them things, but that is those who cannot control their emotions and themselves. But if they understand that the woman is there for a purpose, just as much as you have a rum shop to go there and take buy a beer, a cheap beer, and you have a pub which is selling the same beer but in a different atmosphere, so you pay more for it, or there's a restaurant that has the same alcoholic beverage but at a very higher price, but it's the same product. It's where you purchase the product. So that's why when you think about yourself, your worth to your partner who you cannot satisfy is less than your worth to a stranger who is seeing you every day and say, hey boy, that person looking real nice, boy. I like how they dress. You have more worth to that person. It is who doing the buying and who doing the selling. It is where you place your goods, meaning where you place yourself. There are many married men out there who I know personally that will not step out of their marriage or relationship despite whatever is going on, you know. Because they don't believe in doing something like that. Although women, I think all men are like that. All men are not like that. And there are those who don't need an excuse to step outside of their relationship because by nature they're just like that. They just like to do different things. And if given the opportunity, most men who are so inclined to step outside of the relationship, they will cheat. If given the opportunity, and if they know they can get away with it. Women, on the other hand, has to dissect, they have to analyze, they have to work things out to figure out what I need to do if it's going to benefit me the way I want it to benefit me. What are the ramifications of doing it? So you see the difference? So when people talk about gender neutral, they don't know what they're talking about. There is so many differences between men and women, so many things that are going to be different that you have to be able to analyze that and understand that things are going to be different. Baghdadi, you there?
Yes, I am.
I don't think I can do the longer than maybe another 5 minutes because I'm dying here, as you can hear.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I'm becoming very stuffy. And it had to be the dust on the outside. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best, but it's very difficult. But I will try to go on as long as I can.
Okay, then I'm right here.
I just want you to know that. So my apologies to all the listeners out there, but I'm really stuffy and my nose started to run. And so you have some questions. Let's.
Okay, so let's say a couple doesn't have sex like they used to, but one partner has a substance abuse issue. How can they restore intimacy?
Well, first of all, you have to deal with that substance abuse. Because substance abuse causes an individual to become abusive also. It disintegrates the relationship, it disintegrates the individual, it the person loses reasoning also. So once you have addressed that I have a problem with substance abuse, I would need to now look at the relationship and find a way to rebuild it. That is where counseling comes in. Sometimes you need to talk to an expert in the area to find ways and means to overcome this.
And what if the person is not willing to get help?
Like everything else. If you have not admitted that you have an issue and you're not willing to find a solution, nothing can happen. It's all going to disintegrate and get worse.
Okay. Can anal give you hemorrhoids?
Anal don't give you hemorrhoids because it's not that action that gives you hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids come from your diet and forcing and constipation and other things. But if you have hemorrhoids, it can aggravate your hemorrhoids by having anal sex.
Okay.
And also childbirth does also give you hemorrhoids.
Okay. If a woman often experiences white, thick discharge and irregular periods, they also tire quickly. What can cause this?
Those are signs of a hormone imbalance. A woman has a hormone imbalance. She's not lubricating sufficiently. She's not producing the secretion from the glands because of that hormone imbalance. That's why you have that white, thick discharge.
Okay. What should a man do when every time he has sex, his penis hurts?
Okay. Sometimes a man describes that his penis is hurting, but the penis is made up of different pieces. You have the shaft. You have the corona, which is the head. You have the frenulum. You have the foreskin. So when a man say my penis is hurting, does it mean his scrotum is hurting? That's another part of the anatomy. What exactly is hurting? If the head is hurting, it may be because of chafing or friction in the vagina, not enough lubrication. That was what causing it to hurt. If it's not that, and the shaft itself is hurting, that is something totally different. He may have a fracture of the penis and he don't even know. So there are many factors that causes that. If the foreskin is hurting, which could, if you get pain in any part of the penis, it's transferable to other parts of the penis because you feel it on the whole penis, but you have to know where it emanates from. You got to know where it comes from.
Okay. What should a man do if he has itchy foreskin?
Itchy foreskin is a sign that you have some sort of bacterial infection. It's a sign that you may be touching your penis with dirty hands. And one of the dirtiest things that have out there is money. And many a times a guy will be touching money and immediately wants to go urinate, he will go and hold his penis to urinate. He will not wash his hands before he touches his penis. So, first of all, personal hygiene is very important. Apply an anti-itch cream to the area and see if that solves the problem.
Okay.
Hydrocortisone.
Does piercing your genitals increase risk for infection?
Piercing anywhere in your body increases the risk for infection. If you sometimes you pierce your ear and you get an infection in the ear. So the answer to that is yes. If you especially if you have not allowed it the time for it to cure properly.
Can certain exercises really lead to better sex?
Yes, exercise is an important factor in sex. It increases your stamina level if it's aerobic type activity. If it's anaerobic type activity, meaning weight training and whatnot, that does not increase your stamina level. Aerobic type activity does increase your stamina level and give you more vigor and verve when you're having sex. Yes, so exercise does play an important part in the positive aspect of sex.
Okay. If a woman specifically has a foul scent down there, what can she do to help that smell other than douching?
Douching is not the only thing that you can do because douching sometimes does not solve the problem, it just hides the problem. What you need to do is examine what is causing that. If it's an infection, an STI or STD, it needs to be treated. If it's because of your diet, for example, you're eating a lot of highly seasoned foods, that will also cause a change in the odor of your vagina. Women who eat a lot of onion or garlic, believe me, the vagina smells like onion and garlic.
I never know. I never knew that.
Yes, it does. Because if you eat a lot of onion or garlic and you sweat, it comes out in your skin. And the taste of your vagina changes also. The taste of your vagina changes because of the things that you consume. So those are things that you need to note.
Okay. And for the last question, is it normal for most women to pass gas during orgasm?
Well, it depends on what you call gas. If it's a perfume, which is the air escaping the vagina, that is air escaping the vagina. It's not passing gas.
Okay.
So there's a difference. Some women, because of the position, they can't hold back, so they pass gas very easily.
Okay.
So it depends on what you call that. If it is a perfume or when you force the penis into the vagina, the air that is forced out of the vagina causes because the walls of the vagina is accordion-like, creates a sound. And that's what you hear. Some guys like it, some guys are turned off by it, but it's not passing gas
Okay.
because you don't pass gas through the vagina. So if you believe that, well, then something is wrong with you and maybe you didn't do enough biology in school. So, getting back to that important topic of that connectivity between you and your partner, it takes a lot. It takes a lot from yourself. It takes a lot of understanding between you and your partner. And it takes a lot of knowledge. Now, knowledge is not you going to university or going to high school, because there are lots of women out there who have not gone to high school, but they're educated about sex, they're educated about their bodies. They may not have all the knowledge about sex, but they do understand their body, and they do understand that when they talk to their friends about certain things, they pick up on certain information. Now, all the information may not be correct. That's why you have programs like this, Sexplosion, is to give you the correct information about things that are sexual. But if you don't have a program like this, if you don't have Dr. Raj to listen to, and you want to get information, correct information, you have to do the research to get correct information. But then, reading and doing research takes a certain level of education to understand what you're reading. As opposed to Dr. Raj sitting in front of a radio and explaining things to you and breaking it down to brass tacks. There's a difference. So if you read something or you see something in a video, educational video, whatever, your understanding of that is limited to your education level. But when somebody explains something to you, it's different because then you absorb what they're saying and you can relate to it much easier as opposed to reading and trying to understand. That's why I tell people sex is not theoretical. You could write 1,000,000 books on sex and miss the point completely, because sex is about individuals and their needs and wants. It's about a relationship, because once you engage in sex, whether it be same-sex relationship, heterosexual relationship, a orgy, a group sex or whatever, it is interaction with other persons, getting feelings, emotions.
Emotional
Right.
connection.
So theoretically, you cannot explain that to everyone. As a sexologist, all those books you see there, I have read it. We have books that we have to use as text in our studies. But the manual on sex has not been written yet. Because there's so many components of sex, so many things. Culture, where a woman comes from, the home that she comes from, the home that the man comes from, is influential on how that person views sex. I'll give you a good example. Recently, someone told me that her partner will not go down on her vagina, perform cunnilingus, suck her pussy. And you know why? He is of the firm belief that if he sucks her pussy, he's going to get cancer.
How is that possible?
Well, it is possible if the woman has the HPV virus. But if she does not have the HPV virus, he's not going to get throat cancer. But there are some men, they have read an article or they've heard something, and that's the level of understanding because they're ignorant of the fact. Sucking a vagina does not create a disease. We talk about creation of a disease. It does not create. It could come about because she already has something, a virus, that could be cancerous to other persons. So if he foolishly believes that if he sucks his girlfriend's vagina, he's going to get cancer, well, somebody else will suck it for you. That's simple.
The reality.
That's the reality of it. That's how simple I could put it.
I feel some people, when they see things or read stuff, they don't check the credibility of it.
Well, not only that, I'll give you a good example. There's a very famous actor, who got throat cancer. His father was a famous actor. He died in his 90s. He's a very famous actor, Michael Douglas. Got throat cancer. But he got throat cancer, and he blames it on the woman's vagina because he used to go to all kind of prostitutes and women who are unclean and whatnot, and he admitted to that. But he is the only actor that you know that got throat cancer from sucking vagina. Well, of course, everybody run with that. Michael Douglas get throat cancer from sucking vagina, so we go get it. No, and he admitted why he got it. If you go with every Jane, Joan, and whoever else, the chances are, yes, it could get it. But, you know, that same man wouldn't stop and say, well, you know, if I smoking cigarette every day, I'll get throat cancer. So you see how foolish we can be? What's the credibility of this story? Yes, a famous person has gotten throat cancer from sucking vagina, but he admitted how he got it. And he's one in how many billion, 7 billion people it have in the world?
Yeah, 7 billion.
All right, that we know of. So, we must understand that not everything we hear is the truth. And not everything that we hear that is the truth is applicable to you. Especially when it comes to sex. So when you hear, for example, that a man could last 4 and 5 hours, which is the truth for that man, it is applicable to you. When you could only last 2 minutes, how is it applicable? When you could hear a woman can squirt, if you finger her vagina, if you play with the G-spot, if you touch her clitoris, and you know you cannot squirt, it is not applicable to you, but it is truthful for the woman who can squirt. And this is where the problem is in our society. We have too many medium by which you can get information, but not enough medium to explain things. Not enough brain power to understand or comprehend what is being said and by whom it's being said. I remember early 80s in the United States, now gone up to study, when they're in 79, early 80s. I had a friend, Trinidadian guy, nice guy, really nice guy, and he admitted he was gay. That's why he left Trinidad to live in the United States. He was beaten up at Pelican, so Pelican was a pub in Port of Spain. And he left Trinidad and he migrated to the United States. And he had a boyfriend. He being a Trinidadian, very few Trinidadians in our university that we knew of, we became good friends. We used to go home by him. We meaning me and other Trinidadians. And his boyfriend took violently ill. And he ended up having to be taken care of at home. Only to find out afterwards that it was AIDS. He died from AIDS. But the rumor at that time is that only Haitians and black people could get AIDS. Now this guy was white. So If we had gone with the rumor that only Haitians and blacks and homosexuals will get AIDS, right? It was no big deal for us. We can't get that. We neither Haitians, we're not homosexual, and we're not black.
True.
But that's how foolish it was until more and more information came out about it. But we didn't shun the guy. He was still our friend. But the fact of the matter is that there's so much things that happens in our environment, in our work environment. For example, today I was talking to a good friend of mine who is also David McIntyre, knows him well. And he very simply said, Sahara dust never bothered me before. He said, well, over the last week, my throat is scratching. I have runny eyes and whatnot. The same thing started happening to me. I was never bothered by it. But I realized when I went outside earlier today to do my TikTok, and I came back in, I started to feel all itchy and the dust was too much.
Yeah.
So I bring this upon myself. I shouldn't have gone out there 5 minutes before my program, but I did it. But the fact of the matter is that there's so much information and misinformation out there that we don't know. It doesn't mean to say I don't. I had to ask one guy to take me out of his WhatsApp broadcast. Do you know why?
Why?
He posted a video of a car plunging into a crowd of individuals. You see leg flying here, hand flying there, decapitating individuals. So I asked him a simple question. I said, where did this happen? And when? It's a foreign video. I said, so why the hell are you showing this in Trinidad? What that has to do with Trinidad society?
Nothing.
All you are is an alarmist. So I told him, I said, stop sending me anything like this. As a matter of fact, stop sending me WhatsApp broadcasts because you are an alarmist. You are not disseminating proper information to people around you. And there are many people who do that. They'll send you a video or they'll send you something that has nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago and want you to feel that is what's happening here. I don't put up with them kind of crap. If I look at something, I just look at the car number. And if the car number doesn't match a Trinidad car number, I'm not looking at it because it doesn't apply to Trinidad and Tobago. That's my philosophy. So I don't share things like that. What I will share is my information. I'll share things about Saturday Night Fever, which is the ultimate back in times party on Saturday, 20th of May. That is next Saturday. So I hope all of you who are listening come down there and have a great time with me. It's my birthday party also. It starts at 8 and it goes until 4. 12 DJs. Top DJs. The top DJs from Lit FM, which is 102.3, our sister station, and 105.1. Top 12 top DJs. Trevor Gore, the man of the moment, will be there. So, get your tickets and come down. So I will share that information. General is $200. VIP is $450. And with VIP, you get a full meal. You get 2 alcoholic beverages. The rest of beverages, if you want, buy. It's that. That is correct information. But there are so many individuals out there who wants to be important by sharing false information.
I saw a video yesterday on TikTok where a girl said that diabetes is caused from meat, and a lot of people in the comments was believing what she was saying, and she was explaining, but everybody know that diabetes is due to the defect in our pancreas, which affects
If your
our
pancreas not working, you're going to get diabetes. That have nothing to do with meat.
and a lot of people was
And it is hereditary also. Right? So you will find many ways to find, well, everybody is an expert now. Anybody who could sit in front of a microphone and a camera is an expert. I have listened to some of the TikToks out there on sex, and I wonder where did this get the information from? Because half the time the information is incorrect. Or it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply across the board. It might be for a specific target group, but not across the board. So you have to be careful of what you're saying and how you disseminate information. We try our best you see the Caribbean structure. The Caribbean is part of America. We are part of the Americas, right? That is why Trinidad and Tobago is part of the Americas. You are from North America all the way at the top to South America all the way at the bottom. And everything in between is called the Americas. So, our information might be suited for this part of the world. It's like somebody telling me that, oh, India have X amount of poverty. I ask them, have you ever been to India? Have you ever gone to the villages where these people are supposed to be poor and they're contented? They don't want to be rich. They don't want modern technology. They don't want certain things. There's an entire island in India that you cannot even visit called the Andaman Islands, where Negro people live peacefully within themselves and nobody can go and visit there, and they live in primitive way.
I did not know that.
Well, that's a fact. Not one island, there are 3 islands like that. And they are protected by the Indian Army. Nobody could go there. You can't go and contaminate the people. Nicobar Island is the same thing. So when you say they're poor because they still use spears and bow and arrow to hunt. But they'll only kill what they want to eat. They're like a Trinidadian. You see a goner crossing the road, they want to kill the goner. No reason. Look, let me kill a goner. Look at lap, let me kill it. We want to kill everything. The people, they are contented. When you drive through the village, they're contented. You might say they're lazy because in the middle of the day, they will stop whatever they're doing to go and play a game of cricket. Women, men, children, boys and girls. But if you go and examine the society, you'll see that. It's the same thing with Trinidad society. There are things that are exclusive to Trinidadian that the other islands will see us as crazy. They all try to emulate. They may not like us, but they all try to emulate whatever we're doing. Some islands don't like we at all. They don't like Trinidad at all. And I'm telling you that from experience. I don't care what anybody say. It's not reciprocated by me. But I know they don't like us. I know that. Because I've been there, I've gotten the feeling and I know. Right? But they like we culture. They like we music. They like we food. And they will tell you they can make we food better than them. Well, they can make our food better than us. That's what they could tell you. But how is that possible?
They can't.
They can't. There are things that you just cannot do. They'll tell you their carnival is better than our carnival.
Not true.
No, but in their mind, it is the truth. Sometimes the things that you hate the most is what you really love the most. You know?
True.
That is human nature. So getting back to the couples and individuals who... Let's look at that, since we're talking about that. A Trinidadian get married to a person from another island. Isn't there a culture shock there?
Yes.
Isn't there a difference in culture? I'm not saying don't get married to someone from somewhere else. I'm not saying that at all. So don't go and say Dr. Raj say only married a Trinidadian should only marry a Trinidadian. I never said that. What I'm saying is if you get married to someone from a different culture, a different religion, or a different race, there is going to be a clash.
Because
There's no 2 ways about that. I don't care what anybody says. No one race or religion would subjugate themselves to another one. And the other one always try to overpower the other one, and it's a battle. It's a constant battle. My island better than your island. We just make crab and callaloo better than all you can make crab and callaloo. That kind of thing. That is where the argument will come in. Simple thing. Our cricket team better than all your cricket team. We always beaten all year. There is always a culture clash. So when a person from one place get married to a person from another place, there's integration that could lead to either things going lower or going higher. It could be better, it could be for worse. So we need to examine all these little things. We need to understand what type of relationship we have. The easiest relationship to have is to find somebody compatible with you. That's why in the olden days, persons will go out there seeking someone for their child to get married to who is of the same ilk, meaning the same stature in community, the same religion, the same understanding, the same family structure. That's why family structure was so much stronger long ago. They will go and they will find someone that has the same values that they have, because they know this is our value, this is how we structure our family. We have an extended family with grandparents and uncle and everybody living in one yard, and the next family you come from, you're accustomed to that, so there's no culture shock. That is why those things used to work and it lasted longer than we have relationship now. I can tell you and I can guarantee you that whatever percentage of relationship that broke up before is far less than the percentage of relationships that are broken up now. Again, because of their clash in ideology, because of their clash in the way they handle their finance, because of the clash in their culture, because of the clash in religion, because of the clash in race. So when you have those things happening, eventually person go back to their comfort zone, you know. Eventually people go back to their comfort zone. What they're comfortable with, that's what they go back to. And it may not be beneficial to the other person, so things fall apart. And when things fall apart, you go a separate way. There's divorce, there's breakup, there's splitting of the home, there's splitting of the finances and other things. Children, they're caught in the middle. One of the greatest challenges with such relationship is the religious aspect of it, and the sexual practice that comes with the religious belief of the other person. There are some religious practices that does not allow for certain type of sexual activities. And because of religion, you will find that the persons, whatever the restraints and constraints that they have based on their religion, it affects the other person. It affects them. So, when you have those challenges in your life, and when you have those things to deal with, among other things, the sex disintegrates and there's nothing to keep the relationship together. There's nothing to bind the relationship together. So you see, when one thinks about sex, it is not putting your cock in a pussy. It is not that. Any two fools could do that. Any two fools could have sex. But when it comes to sexual practices among individuals, couples, whatever, it takes much more than that. It's something that needs to be looked at carefully. It needs to be understood. It needs to be developed. And if you cannot develop those things, you are going to end up in a lot of problems. Because it takes a lot of effort and understanding and manipulation to secure and cement that, you know. Connection, yes, very important word. Chemistry, very important word. Compromise, very important word. The C's, all the C's that you have out there. Comprehension, understanding what your partner needs are, and understanding your ability to provide those needs. Provide for those needs. How capable am I to talk dirty to my husband or my wife when that is what they need for the mental stimulation to have an orgasm? How imaginative am I to conjure up a scenario that is going to stimulate my partner and stimulate me in the process? Do I have that level of imagination? And if you don't, what happens if that is what your partner needs? So there's so many things that you have to think about. I'm not saying that sex is difficult or to make it more than it is. What I'm saying is that you need to understand that there is a cadre of items. It's like a smorgasbord. All these different things that we need to know what goes with what. What do we put with what? You can't say having a sandwich and you cut your bread and you want to put soup in it. You have to know what goes with what. That smorgasbord is what I'm talking about. There are certain things that meat and potatoes. You have to understand that. Dumpling and kalaloo. What are the ingredients I need to make this work? You know, because we have made something called bacon shark, a popular dish in Trinidad. People here want to eat a roti and shark, you know. Nobody here want roti and shark? You ever see a place selling roti have roti and shark?
No.
Right. Because we know bake go with shark. It's a Trinidad culture thing. I'm not saying that is the right thing, you know. That is what we made it into. A roti and a red solo. A doubles and apple J. Every doubles man have apple J selling. Every doubles man. Because it is the traditional thing to add to it. It's the same thing when you go in with your partner. You have to know what are the ingredients you are putting there for your partner, because what she needs is not what the neighbor needs next door, is what she needs here. What you are going to add to this person. Pilau and coleslaw. Those are the things we have to understand about the culture of a nation and the culture of a people. And understand, we as human beings, what we do. We create a tradition in our mind. That is why I'm saying, if you initiate sex with your wife, and you are a minute man, and you're doing that for the last 5 years, breaking fast, eventually when you want to initiate, you say, here, take it. You're going to finish anyway in a few minutes. And she's going to get her thing on the side, whether she buy a vibrator or dildo or whatever, and she's having sex with herself. Because it's no longer satisfactory for her to just lie there and have you pump away for 2 minutes. She's just accommodating you. It's the same thing with the woman who just lie there and say, okay, enjoy yourself. And he working away, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, until he ejaculates, and he done. But she's just there like a log. How is he going to enjoy her?
You wouldn't.
Well, right. Eventually that vagina will have no hold on him. There's no joy in that vagina. Our next man might be looking at her and says, she's sweet boy, she looks like she's good in bed, but she may not be. Or she might be holding back until she finds the right person. You never know. So these are the things we must understand about ourselves. Excuse me. Mac Daddy,
Hey, Raj.
I really can't go another minute.
Hold on, 1 minute. Yeah, repeat what you said.
I said, I don't think I could go on for another minute.
No, I'm hearing it.
I'm trying my best, but it's really difficult.
I hear you, my brother. Okay.
So I hope I've given the listeners enough to digest. I want to thank you for having me on at Power 102.
Yeah, man.
And until next week, Friday, I have to say my goodbyes now. So Angel, say your goodbye, darling.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, angels.
All right, take care, man.
Love Dr. Raj. You too.
Recording stopped.
That's it for today's edition of the shortened version of SEXPLOSION.
Ooh, Shelly, I suffered through that last few
You'll
days.
be back next Friday.
Go ahead, go ahead.